of the plan this week is going to be to get the orchard set up. I don't know how far I'm going to get with it, but at least I want to lay out where it's going to go, stake everything out, and maybe rent an auger and drill out all the holes. The overall dimensions are going to be 30 feet wide by 90 feet long. There's a few tiny trees and some branches and stuff that I'll need to clear out. So I'm going to do that right now so I can get the stakes at least down on the ground and measure everything out. On the first side, I measured 30 feet across and then 90 coming this way. And then from that 90, I just measured 30 going across from here to there. Now I'm gonna go back to the first, my hat's falling apart. I'm gonna go back to the first 30 that I measured, and now I'm gonna measure 90. I put the stake in the ground over here, but then I'll be able to get where the square is by measuring 90 right at this stake. And then I'll have to move that stake probably a little further away or closer. So we'll see where that lands. So I'm gonna go measure that now. That is not too shabby. Here's where I put my stake, and right here is where 90 is. So I'm about 4 inches away. So I'm just going to move this right over here to 90, stake that in. Now what I want to do is measure the diagonals, because it could be that I have two 90s and two 30s, but it's sort of off like this. So these are both 90, those are both 30s, but it's not square. So if I measure the diagonals, I can make sure that those are that everything is perfectly square. And so now it's perfectly square, so I'm going to run a line so I can mark where the big 4x6 posts go and where the T-posts are going to go. Actually, before I even mark out where the T-posts or where the posts are going to go, I'm going to do the straight line here on this side closest to the forest, so that I can know exactly where the fence line is going to be, and I'll clear a few feet back. I'll mow it down and cut any small trees and branches and stuff that are in the way so I can get that cleaned up, and then I will mark where the T-posts are going to go. There's a few trees that are here to the side, and I don't know, they're probably 6 to 8 inches in diameter. I'd like to keep them, but the problem is they're shading. They're going to be shading over too much over the orchard, and there's plenty of other trees here, so I'm going to take those 3 that are right along this line to make a little more room for the orchard. Good morning. Now that I took out all the branches and trees yesterday that I wanted to remove, I need to pull them out of here. I could chop them all up over there, but then I'd be left with all the branches. So what I figured I'd do is just hook a choker chain onto them and drag them out of here. I tried with the first branch, which was a fairly good sized branch, to hook it up with the chain and tow it out of there with my lawn tractor. That did not work. I was able to pull it out with the truck, so that's what I'll be doing for the rest of these. So I think there's 6 or 7 branches, so I gotta pull them out of there. I staked out the 4 corners yesterday, and what I need to work on today, I actually made a plan of where all the stakes go, where all the T-posts go, and where all the posts go. So what I'm going to do right now is lay out the string line and lay a stake down where all those are going to go. I basically have 5 feet between the corner posts. There's 3 posts at each corner, separated by 5 feet. And then 10 feet between all the T-posts. On this end, which is where the gate is going to be, that's a little bit different. It's all going to be posts, but the sizing is a little bit different. So I'm going to lay it out. Well, I don't know how we missed this, but that stake needs to go right on that giant boulder that's way down in the ground. So I don't know what we're gonna do with this. A couple days after installing the posts in the dog area, the dogs were actually able to slip under the fence on the right, and so when I tightened it up a lot, it moved the post, so I needed to secure it a little bit better. I had a temporary fence board across the top, but I wanted something a little bit more permanent. Earlier this morning, I went and rented a one-man auger from the local rental yard, and I was able to get all the holes dug except for 1.5. One of the holes where the post needs to go is right on a boulder, and I'll probably have to dig that out or drill into it or something. I'll figure that out later. The other, I went about 12 inches down and then found a boulder, so I'm gonna have to do the same thing with that one. But everything else went okay. On some of them, I was only able to dig down about 8 to 12 inches before the auger just would not go down any further. I was putting all my weight, sometimes just sitting on it, to get it to go down. And the guy at the local yard said to basically do what I did with the post the other day, is to just pour some water in the hole, let it sit for a little while, and then dig down again, and that worked perfectly. There was one hole that I tried to dig out. It wasn't working very well with the auger because it had a bunch of roots through it. Now I do have a post hole bar, big heavy pipe with a flat end on it, so I was able to break those roots out and dig the hole by hand, and that wasn't too bad. One hole's not hard to dig out by hand, but when you have a bunch of them, it's a little more complicated. My next step is going to be to go get the tractor and hook it up to the trailer that's filled with all of the posts and drive them out and drop them off at all the hole locations. All the posts are now in, so I'm going to do lap number 2 with the tractor and drop off all the T-posts. I could have done it in one pass, but I completely forgot. So here we go. Dang, it's actually starting to come together now. Posts are, at least in the place where they're going to be, all the T-posts are on the ground. Now comes the physically demanding part of actually pounding the T-posts in and packing the ground around all the big 4x6 posts, but it's going to come together. Well, that took longer than I thought, but I just finished pounding those first 2 posts in and they are plumb. So now, in order to get the other ones in between in the correct location, I got a couple of nails and a string line, and I'm gonna string it up right between them and plumb up the other 2 posts, get them in the ground. Good morning. We are back at it again today. Yesterday I finished off the day with putting these 4 front posts in, and now in order to be able to string the line all the way 90 feet to the other side, I need to put the other 2 corner posts in. Once those are in, then we can get the ones on the sides, the 4 posts on the sides in. So I'm gonna go to the other side and put those 4 posts in just like I put these in. Alright, I finished putting the 4 posts along this 90-foot section here, and what I'm actually going to do before I finish the stuff on the back, since I have my string line set already, I'm just going to go ahead and put the T-posts into the ground. That way I know exactly where they need to go, so I'm going to put those in right now. Okay, well, I don't think I have a concussion, so I'm going back up the ladder. It does hurt though. Well, that's about all I'm going to get done this week. We have some family coming to town, so we got to wrap up a little early on the projects and do a little bit of cleanup. But I have all of the posts in, except for the one post where there's a big giant rock underneath it. I have all the T-posts up. Everything's ready. Hopefully on Sunday I will be stringing the fence up and it'll start coming together pretty quick. So anyways, everyone have a great weekend and we'll see you guys on the next one.